Yo, I just wanted to take a few minutes and just kind of voice my opinion about curating your movie collection, especially if you own discs. Shelf space is premium. This is true. But sometimes you make purchases of movies that you think are nostalgic or you've seen them in the past and you're like, oh yeah, that one, I really think I'm gonna like that one, so I'm just gonna go ahead and purchase it. So this is a new segment I'm starting right now called But if this video had a subtitle, it would be called Buyer's Remorse. Case in point, Batteries Not Included. A 1987 film presented by Steven Spielberg, but not directed by him. Basically, it's about a building that is being demolished because some billionaire or whatever wants to get rid of everything and build giant skyscrapers, okay? But the tenants in this building, you kind of get their backstory just a little bit, but to be honest, some of the character arcs aren't that compelling. But lo and behold, these mysterious kind of alien creatures that honestly look like little robots, they fly in and they start to repair some things around the building. That's cool, that's magical. So that's basically the gist. These people from this building are going to be evicted because their building is going to be demolished eventually, when supposedly a miracle happens when these flying little aliens come in and start making the place good as new. Sounds like a pretty cool premise on paper, but Derek and I actually did an extensive breakdown and discussion on this movie in our last double take episode. So you can watch that if you want a little bit more about Batteries Not Included. But in this little segment, I just want to go over why I'm already kind of regretting buying this. Because of course you can probably already guess, something this obscure, like this family-friendly thing from 1987, is not streaming anywhere. Shocking, I know. So I found this on groove.com. It was like $9. So I was like, sure, whatever. I'm gonna buy it for the podcast, and then Derek and I are going to discuss it. So that's already come and gone. So now I'm just gonna go over the reasons why I think it is not shelf worthy, and that I'll honestly probably take this to Goodwill now that I have it in my possession. But I just don't really want it anymore. So first things first, the execution of this movie just wasn't there. Like I said, on paper, it sounds like a really cool premise. The characters involved could also potentially be very interesting characters. The acting was okay for most of the characters. Some of the characters just kind of phoned it in or just were rubbing me the wrong way. Although the silver lining on this particular title, it has definitely not gotten a 4K upgrade, which is understandable because, like I said, it's pretty obscure. But regardless, even on Blu-ray, it looked fantastic, to be honest. And I know we've said this plenty of times on our podcast, things that were shot back then, that were on film, the lighting, it just looks cinematic. Well, that and ILM's involvement with the little alien spaceship creatures, those were really cool too. The stuff that they pulled off, you know, there were some POV shots of the creatures themselves, which was really cool. But the blue screen and the rotoscoping and the way that they incorporated these little creatures into particular shots, yeah, ILM did a fantastic job for 1987. So I applaud what ILM was able to do. They're not at fault here whatsoever. They were given a task and they hit it out of the park. But as far as making space on the shelf for this particular title, it's just not going to make the cut. Like I said, the execution of the story is pretty poor. Apparently, originally, this was supposed to be just part of this kind of anthology series that Steven Spielberg was doing in the mid-80s, where it was just kind of like, 20-minute stories. So Steven Spielberg got wind of this story and he just decided, I really like this, so I want to make it into a full-length feature. So you can tell right away that there is a lot of padding involved. To take a 20-minute story and expand it to an hour and 45 minutes, I think is the official runtime, or an hour and 47, something like that. That's asking a lot. And honestly, it shows. So that's deal breaker number one. Deal breaker number two is that I really like behind the scenes stuff. I love to watch those documentaries to see how they did particular shots or scenes. I'm such a film nerd that way, so I just kind of geek out on that kind of stuff. I enjoy watching it. I know not everybody enjoys watching behind the scenes, but I do. So that's largely one of the reasons I still collect physical media, is because nowadays, that's honestly one of the few places you can actually still find behind the scenes footage and making of documentaries, etc. And this particular copy is so bare bones, it has none of that. Because like I said, ILM hit it out of the park with what they were able to do with these little alien creatures. I would love to see behind the scenes on the production and how they came up with the designs of the little spaceship creatures. I'm just a very curious person when it comes to that kind of stuff. So the fact that this disc has none of that, again, that's strike number 2. And along with me being a super big film nerd, strike number 3 is that it has no director's commentary either. Again, not only do I like to watch behind the scenes stuff, but I love to listen to director's commentary, or if they have some of the actors involved in the commentary, just commentaries in general. I really enjoy those too, because that also adds to the replay value for me personally. There are still plenty of things that are mentioned during the commentary that are missed in the behind the scenes documentary. So it's typically an even more in-depth look behind the scenes. So that's strike number 3, man. This is literally as bare bones as you can get. It literally has the movie and maybe a trailer, and then set up as far as the different audio versions you can play, different subtitle languages, and that's about it. So, is batteries not included shelf worthy? For me personally, I'm gonna say no. But honestly, that doesn't mean it's a no for you. If this particular movie hits home for you because of nostalgia or whatever the case, then yeah, you might wanna own this on Blu-ray. Otherwise, in my personal opinion, it does not make the cut for my shelf space. And there you have it, folks. I hope to do a lot more of these to go over some of the physical media purchases I've made in the recent past to see if they are in fact shelf worthy. So I hope you enjoyed this particular episode, and I hope you enjoy future episodes where I go over if indeed something that I own is shelf worthy, or something that I'm thinking about purchasing would be shelf worthy. That's something to look forward to as well. As always, this world is crazy as it is already, so it only makes sense to be kind to one another out there. Don't just watch TV and movies, experience them. And of course, physical media for life.